All right. Well, today was bound to happen anyway, but I'm just gonna say this up front. The reason why I haven't made this video any earlier than I did, I was on Discord and we recently had a couple raids in my friend's servers. So I'm not gonna really say much other than what happened, but that Ice Fox 37 is one of the most famous people right now that is doing YouTube right now. Support that man with everything you can, because we're getting him to 10,000 subscribers. If we manage to do that, we might do a podcast on Discord. So if you try to search up, it's like, oh, well, hey, this Ice Fox 37 podcast going on, we can allow people in along with allowing them to ask questions. And that will also allow people to come in, finally look at the server and see how far the server's come from the beginning phases of the server. But that's not what this video is about. This is about part 2. So part 1 was about the first contact being made by the United Planets against the Fallout universe with the Legion, the Brotherhood of Steel, the Enclave, and the NCR. So nothing really happens at most. The United Planets basically comes here, builds a base. No one really cares they're here just yet, but there's almost nothing that changes until now. This is where the timeline splits off. In the original timeline, your character had a choice to go to New Vegas and completely dismantle Benny's whole operation with the platinum chip. Except for, here's the difference. Benny would most likely, in this scenario, not do anything. Other than after he had shot you, there's really nothing he will do, because now the NCR in United Planets now want him dead, and Mr. House is probably going to be tracked down and killed, even though he's already fucking 200 years old and dead as shit. But that's not the point of this video. New Vegas will probably be fought over for quite some time during the whole Fallout 4 series if the United Planets joins. Now, here's the reason why I say that. It's the location that means everything. Neither the Legion nor the New California Republic own New Vegas. None of them own it. It is basically run by itself. But when the United Planets takes it over and occupies it, it's going to seem as an act of aggression. And the Legion is most likely going to try to see if they can get rid of the United Planets' presence there, and most likely get annihilated in the process. So chances are the United Planets probably won't go to war, because why would you? Even if you had a chance to, do you really need to execute over a couple 100,000 people just to prove a point? I mean, other historical figures in history have, but there's no need for it. And I think that's the difference, is that there's no need for that sort of violence or that sort of problem. There just doesn't need to have. We don't need that. But here is where everything turns. The Legion attacks New Vegas. Normally, that does not happen. The New Vegas is owned by someone else. So when you have the Legion wanting to take over New Vegas after the United Planets take over New Vegas, this is going to be a constant fight between the two sides. Now, what does that mean? Well, it could mean a war between the Legion and the United Planets is on the horizon, or the NCR might just attack the Legion while they're down and they're weakened. Because if you try to attack a city like New Vegas, you have to send 3-to-1 ratio in soldiers. And if, let's say, the United Planets sends 1,000 soldiers to occupy the city, you'll need 3,000 at least to attack the city. That's not even saying you'll take it, but you need 3,000 to attack the city. But you see, that's the problem. The Legion barely has that numbers. I looked it up. The Legion barely has 80,000 soldiers. There's no way they are taking New Vegas with the numbers they have. There's no way. Even if they send every single person they can, the chances of them doing it is still very low. That's the thing. Whatever the United Planets takes is what it gets. That's all there needs to be said. But the same thing goes for the NCR. Whatever they take, at this point, whatever they take, the Legion cannot resist against it. Basically, they have full jurisdiction. Basically, they're cocky. They're going to get cocky. Of course they will. They have an ally that could basically kill the world 6 times over. There's really no reason to be scared of anything if you have an ally that is so strong and powerful. There's nothing. But I think that is where the alliance may shift a bit, where they realize that both the Legion and the NCR are pretty trash. They're both absolutely horrifying and horrible. So I think what may happen is during a battle of New Vegas, the NCR is probably going to be left alone, and the United Planets is going to be fighting the Legion all by themselves. There's really, even by themselves, or the Legion with the NCR against the United Planets, there's still no chance they're taking a good dub on this one. I don't really see many United Planet service members dying to this, considering they're untrained comparison-wise. I mean, you have soldiers with decades of experience, possibly centuries of experience, against people that can barely live 2 centuries. How is that even fair? That's well, it's not fair, but who said any fight is fair? You gotta say that. It's like there's not really much fairness to the whole fight thing. So keeping that up, keeping that entire thought process up, that's the reason why the NCR probably won't have the United Planets in an alliance when a true war comes against the Legion. The Legion will most likely try to take New Vegas, fail miserably, and then realize they're not invincible as they once thought they were, as their military had already had military successes against the NCR in a couple of battles. Lennius is probably going to get pissed off. He's basically the commander of the forces. Caesar's basically the emperor of everything. So chances are Caesar's not going to be very happy with the United Planets and their little move. But at the same time, it wasn't so that the NCR can travel through their territory and attack the Legion. That's not the case. The case is to keep an eye on both of them in case something happens. And the NCR is about to find out in the next video or two what's going to happen when you test the patience of a superpower. Another thing that needs to be said in this video is also the fact that the United Planets has more people, more resources, just overall a better economy, and is capable of fighting. Unlike the NCR and the Legion, who can barely pick themselves off the ground and barely be able to fight. Both the NCR and the Legion have low populations in comparison to the United Planets military. All the United Planets really needs to do is just find ways so that they can't recruit every single human being. Maybe poison the water supply, or maybe poison food, maybe cause dissentment in the countries. That it's that simple that it may cause the collapse of the societies and possibly bring out new countries to play with. In this timeline, I don't know if I see the NCR or the Legion, the Brotherhood of Steel, or the Enclave really winning. The Enclave would most likely get attacked as soon as it tries the NCR. That one would definitely get attacked by the United Planets. That one is kind of an exception, because the Enclave are some of the biggest, they are probably the largest threat other than the Legion at the time. I mean, Brotherhood of Steel, they probably still don't care. Even though they're still very powerful, they generally don't really care about outsiders that much. The only times they'll allow people in their ranks is if you seem good enough to them. So another thing that I also need to point out in this whole series part is the fact, let's say this. The NCR is most likely going to fight the Legion in a matter of days. Keep in mind, this is only a handful of days past the first contact, and already has a skirmish begun between the Legion and the United Planets. After the skirmish is over, I could definitely see out of maybe, let's say, they sent a strong force of 10,000. Let's just say that. Out of that 10,000, calculations, if my calculations are 100% correct, they will lose between 8,700 to 9,300 men. That's not replaceable. That's almost 10%. That's over 10% of their military gone. Like that. Gone. They would try to attack and completely get annihilated in the resulting battle. The United Planets, I say like the United Planets 2050. And even then, these are casualties, so deaths will be even less. There probably will be more deaths on the Legion side because they don't have the health care. The United Planets probably will only suffer one, 2, or 3 deaths at very, very worst, because of the way they heal their soldiers is far more advanced than Earth's soldiers. It's just remarkable. But the battle for Los Angeles, Los Angeles. Wow, I didn't know we were in the NCR territory. The Battle of New Vegas would most likely end in a United Planets major victory. So New Vegas is kept by the United Planets. They reinforce what they have there, and now it's firmly in the hands of the United Planets. So what happens when you unite this man with a Winchester to his dad will instantly get killed. The moment he even pulls his gun out, he probably will get shot to death. There's no doubt. He may kill 1 or 2 people, then he just gets gunned down himself with like a 7.62 round. Who knows what would be used. But that would definitely be a problem. And now you have the storyline completely changed. That's one part where it changes. Yeah, Benny would most likely get caught and possibly jailed or killed as soon as the United Planets finds him. Because remember, Mr. House is still a threat, a major, major threat to the United Planets and whatever forces there, because he still has a robotic army that is basically deactivated right now. But if he activates that robotic army, he could damage the United Planets severely. This would be something that needs to be done. They need to find Mr. House and kill him. And I think at this point in time, neither the NCR nor the Legion realistically want to fight each other because neither of them are ready. Neither of them are ready for fighting. And after what the NCR and the Legion just witnessed at New Vegas, the Legion really has nothing to go off of. So this will probably lead into a coalition of a handful of countries in order to find the corporate boss name of Mr. House. Mr. House is probably going to get found along with Benny. The moment Benny's found, he is either going to get killed, captured, tortured, all 3 of them. So that will most likely be the biggest problem, is that if it depends on who finds who. If Benny gets found by the United Planets, they're probably just going to jail him. They're not going to try to kill him. But if the main character or the Legion find him, he's dead on the spot. The NCR, they're probably going to torture him before they kill him. Same thing probably with the Brotherhood of Steel. Enclave, those are straight kill his ass. There's same thing with the Legion. He's gone. The moment they catch him, it's real shit hours, and they're going to blast his ass in outer space. So Benny is probably going to die along with Mr. House not long after, but I think that's going to possibly bring in problems when this happens. If Mr. House dies, Mr. House dies. That's going to happen no matter what. Mr. House basically gets shut offline, and basically he gets shut offline. And what that means is it depends on who kills him. That's when an outcome will be different. If the NCR or the Enclave kill Mr. House, the Legion's probably not going to care very much. But if the Brotherhood of Steel kills Mr. House before the Legion can get to him, I figured out there would be a completely different outcome. The Legion and the Brotherhood of Steel might fight each other. Isn't that terrifying? That would be terrifying. The Brotherhood of Steel is not numbered very much. They say like 100, 200,000. What are you doing? What are you yelling at me for? Huh? What are you yelling for? It's my thing. It's my thing down here. It's my cat. What do you want? Huh? But most likely, if the Brotherhood of Steel gets to him first, this will end in a different way than I had wrote down, because the Legion and the Brotherhood of Steel do like each other, but the Legion feels that they're better than the Brotherhood of Steel. And when this happens, they just killed the guy that would end everything if he's dead. Now the Legion would be jealous, sort of jealous. They would be sort of jealous, and they would most likely try to fight the Brotherhood of Steel in a fight, which means the NCR might not fight in the Battle of Hoover Dam. Or if they do, they might fight in the hands of the Brotherhood of Steel. That could mean some pretty big problems for the Legion, because now not only do the Enclave not really like them, but the United Planets doesn't really like them. The NCR and the Brotherhood of Steel might team up to defeat the Legion. Everyone's against them now. They're literally by themselves. And World War II and World War I can tell you what happens when you're by yourself with no allies or no good allies. It will tell you everything you need to know. Costly war, but will end in your defeat no matter what. Even if you're the underdog in certain scenarios, you are just not going to win that type of conflict. I mean, the populations of every single person that is now in that area is probably ranking between 1 to 2 million, while you only have 3 times, maybe 4 times the population less. How are you supposed to win? I'm probably even excluding the United Planet soldiers. So that's the key, is that there is a lot of problems that the Legion now face. What are you doing, boo-boos? Huh? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? But that's basically what would happen. If Mr. House and Benny both die, depending on who has killed who, the outcome is going to be completely different. But the outcome will be completely different based upon factors that will determine the entirety of the outcome of this little experiment. But with this one, we're going to say the Brotherhood of Steel killed Mr. House. This is going to be the most interesting. The other ones, it's almost the exact same. The NCR and the Legion will still fight, but this one is where the Battle of Hoover Dam will be radically different. So the final things I must say is the next video in part 3, we're going to be discussing about the preparing for the Battle of Hoover Dam, and with the other tribes such as the Boomers, the Khans, all of those people, all of the different tribes. And that, I think, is going to matter a lot when the battle comes. So one of the things I just need to say left is, like, if you guys like this so far, please, for the love of God, please tell me in the comments or give me suggestions. Again, that is the proper way to give me a suggestion. But I'm not going to force you to like. I'm not going to force you to subscribe. I'm not even going to force you to hit a bell or anything. I'm not even going to force you to type a comment. Like, if you like it, you can type a comment. It's not like I'm going to be very upset if you don't, because a lot of people don't. When I mean a lot of people, I mean almost everyone that watches my videos. But with that all being said, that basically concludes my video. So before I leave, do you have anything to say? He's looking at you. Do you have anything to say? He's happy. He doesn't have anything to say. So I will see you guys next time.